factory.
To build the Hawker Hurricane.
Indeed. 40 planes last month with a capacity of up to 100. Our fighters are over England as we speak. Of course, it pains me to see airplanes mass-produced like boxcars or baby carriages. But in war, we make concessions in favor of innovation.
You must feel at home, though, managing all of these women.
I'm not here to manage women.
Well, you must admit it is an unusual job.
I'm the chief engineer here. I do what engineers do. That's all.
What are we doing now?
We're to win this war. We need to know how she flies.
Elsie McGill was the world's first female aeronautical engineer. She oversaw Canada's production of Hawker Hurricanes during the Second World War, earning her the nickname Queen of the Hurricanes.
Hi, and welcome to 1111. I'm Roberta, and today I am talking with Jordan Carter from Torres Cove, Newfoundland, who is a naturopath, an energy worker, a yoga teacher, and a shamanic healer. Jordan has studied in Peru and Chile and offers effective techniques and guidance that help you become the best version of yourself. Welcome to the show, Jordan.
Thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Thanks. So, Chile and Peru are a long way from the southern shore of Newfoundland, huh? I'm hoping we can start by you explaining to us what brought you there.
Yeah, for sure. So what kind of first got me into this whole work, this pathway, was back when I was about 13 or 14 years old. I had this deep depression, and I went through the traditional ways of going to a therapist and taking medications and stuff, and it helped. It definitely got me through those times. But as the years went by and the old tendencies began to come back up again, I began to do some more research myself and how can I be more pleasant within myself? What do I got to do to get this body, this person, this mental and emotional being to function the way I wanted to? So with that, I kind of came across meditation, yoga, different aspects like this, different types of healing modalities. And the more I looked into it, the more I realized that the way that I was going about this, thinking that some kind of medication was going to fix all the problems that I had created within myself, I realized that, okay, I'm going to have to do some inner work here now. And it's not going to be easy, but it is what it is. I got to do this. I'm done living this way. I'm done living in a consistently sad state. So I kind of done some different types of training, and eventually I ended up having a severe injury and broke two of my ankles, and that kind of gave me some time off to really focus on this path. And I came across this program in Chile, and I was like, you know what, the opportunity's here. I'm going to go and do it. So I went down to Chile and began studying the shamanistic ways of healing and energy work, which was great. Then I went to Peru for some time after that and studied with some traditional healers of the area, and really gave me a chance to embody and integrate what I studied in Chile. And when I was down there, I was kind of like, when I left to go there, I was like, I'm not coming back until I have something that I can come back and share, or I have some kind of realization within myself that is going to help me to be content and happy on a consistent basis. So I kind of packed my bag and was like, wherever I'm going, I'm going. So after some time in Peru, I remember sitting down and just doing some introspection, and I was like, so what am I going to do? What is my purpose? What do I do from here? And what came up was that it was like, you got to go back to Newfoundland and you got to spread the word about this kind of work. And at first I was like, really? Is that really what I got to do? But
let me ask again. Really? Okay.
Yeah, come back to Newfoundland, and that's what felt right. That's what felt right in my heart. That's what felt right in my mind. So I was like, okay, let's do it. So I came back, and at first, it was was great. It was optimistic, and then the reality of it started to set in. Like, this is a very unknown thing to a large extent here. Like, it's not going to be easy to set up. Like, how am I even want to do this? Who even wants this work here? And it was kind of like going through this process of really, really embodying it myself, which was also a very integral part of the learning process for me, of coming back and fully embodying that back home, back here in this atmosphere in Newfoundland. And really gave me a strength of like, you know what, no matter what anyone says, no matter what anyone believes about it, I know it works. I know that this is what works for me, and I know that I can help other people too. And it kind of forced me to embody that on a strong level within myself. So, you know, I just kept with it, started out small, offering some sessions here and there, and it kind of just has been picking up ever since. And the more that I do it, the more that I see that, you know, it really has an impact on people. And it's simple, but it's also very profound. And for the person who needs this kind of thing, or the person who's suffering and they've tried everything, or the person who's just curious about this, it's really an amazing thing. And I've seen it help a lot of people. And more importantly, I've seen within myself how strong and how effective it is, because, you know, I really believe in, if something don't work for me, I'm not going to pass it on to anybody else. I don't, you know, I want to make sure it works. I want to know and experience that myself before I share it with anyone. And I can definitely say that with all that I am, that it works. If you commit yourself to it, it's the work's going to work. I can help you get there. I can help guide you and, you know, show you what steps you got to take and help you to move certain things within yourself. But at the end of the day, if you're kind of not ready to dive in there's nothing I can do to help you. And I like to be upfront about that too. You know, I can't fix you. I'm not coming here to like make your life better in one session. Like, that's not how it works. I'm just here to like facilitate and guide you and coach you and point you in the right direction. I'll give you some specific and practical techniques, some specific and practical tools that you can implement within yourself to really embody peace, contentment, happiness on a more consistent basis.
Right.
And that's at the root.
That is so
Yeah, go ahead.
what you said, because I think people have to take ownership of it for themselves. So yeah, you actually don't have a magic wand and are just magically fixing people. You are providing a session and an experience, and then giving people something to take away, to practice, whether that's breathing techniques, encouraging meditation, you know, things like that. And you've also said something there really interesting about people sort of needing to be open to this kind of work. So if you're someone who is super skeptical and thinks, oh yeah, energy work, what's that going to do for me? Then, you know, maybe this is not the session for you. But I also think too, people are drawn to this when other methods just aren't seeming to give them the success that they need. So they look to something alternative.
Yeah, definitely. That's what got me there. You know, I was a hard-headed, like hockey playing, fighting, kind of like angry teenager, and I was very skeptical about all this stuff for sure. And I came to realize that it has a depth and it works. And you know, if I can come to that place, I know that anyone can. But you're right about it's. You kind of got to go through like, I'm trying this, I'm trying that, I'm trying this, and it's like, well, none of it's working. So that's kind of what brings you here. Like, okay, let's try this. It brings you to that open state, and it allows you to be open to whatever. You know, you hit that rock bottom. I'll do whatever it takes to feel good because I'm just sick of this. It's kind of where you got to get to on a certain level.
I mean, it's been a rough year, absolutely. So there's a lot of stress with respect to the pandemic, the economy, jobs, everything. But also people are just suffering, right? As a fortune teller, I know people are coming to me because they're looking for guidance. They want to know that things are going to be okay, that maybe things are not great right now, but things are going to work out. And I do sense there is just a lot of people who they know they want something. They know they want to feel better, but they don't quite know what to do. So I think let's shine a little bit of a light on this, and let's talk about what a typical session with you might look like. And maybe we can do this from the perspective of somebody who has had a session with you, and that would be me, because I actually saw you yesterday, because after talking to you about doing the show, I knew I wanted to experience it, and I knew it would make a better show and a better representation of you if I was actually familiar with what a typical session with you would be. And so it started off with us just chatting, just talking about life and what was going on in my life at the time, right? So you set that up first.
Yeah, that's how I always start. Unless you come to me with something specific, like an issue or a problem that you have, I'll start off like, so what's one thing in your life that's not going the way you want it to go? And we take it from there, and we kind of just, we talk it out, and we get to the root of what's really causing that. Because oftentimes, like, we think one thing is causing it, but really it's just something a little deeper that's causing that. And I kind of talk with you and get a sense of what emotions are circling around this, what mental patterns and tendencies are all connected in with this, and that kind of leads into what I'm going to bring up when we get on the table and we lie down on the emotional triggers and the mental triggers that you have within yourself that need to be worked on and released.
Right. And so, yes, the next step was, I guess, I lay down on this table and you put your hands on my head, and I was just lying there breathing and just calm and very relaxed. And you have created this really safe space. And so then you just gently asked me, so with the situation you described, what's a word, what's an emotion, to describe how you were feeling? And I said, well, like disappointment. I was disappointed by something. And so then we did a little breathing work to kind of release that. And that was nice. And then we worked on a second issue, and that was impatience, which I am very well known for. And everyone is, right? Like, to go back to the whole card reading things, like when they come see me and I do the spread, and I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, you're going to get that job, or you're going to find your soulmate. The first thing that invariably comes up is, okay, when, Roberta, when is that going to happen, right? So I get it. I totally get it. And so we worked then on sort of releasing the impatience. And it was just very calm, very soothing. And I would imagine if there was someone, for example, who was dealing with some sort of traumatic experience. I mean, mine was fairly mundane and not very intense, but if someone was dealing with something significant, you take them back to that moment in this safe space. Am I right?
Yeah, we find through the talking again, I'll find mental and emotional triggers, like what situations are kind of triggering this trauma within yourself, and what kind of emotion comes up around that, and like where's it to in your body? Where do you feel it? So we kind of establish that first, and when we get on the table, we do make sure that safe space is created, because that's important to be able to go there and knowing that, like, we're going to go back and talk about it, but we're here and we're lying down in this room, we're completely safe. So it's important to establish that. But once we get that space, it's kind of going back, bringing up the emotion, bringing up the mental state, how you felt in your body, how you felt in your mind when this tragedy happened, or when something happened that triggers the emotions of around this tragedy. And that's where openness thing comes in. It's like, you got to be open to go there and kind of let that go and release it, because when we experience trauma on any level, it gets stored within the nervous system. There's a deep cellular memory within the body that holds on to these things. And it's great to talk about things. It definitely helps, and it definitely gets things moving. But if we don't address this storage of information on the nervous system, it's not really getting to the root of things. So I talk you through that. We do some breathing. We bring up that emotion to the best of your ability at that time, the way it felt within you, and we kind of release that. We let go of that and come to a place of acceptance about that, so we can go forward in your life without letting something that happened in the past have this big impact on who you are going forward.
Right. And I don't want to ruin all of it. in terms of sharing too much, but towards the end, you did tell me you were going to say some word over me. Um, and I was feeling great. But when you started in to that, it just triggered something very deep inside me. And I had this emotional release. And I remember I was just crying, but it wasn't because I was sad. It was happy tears. Maybe I don't know. It just felt like just this big release, and that I was actually letting something go. And I have felt remarkably calm since then, just very centered and grounded and secure. And it's just been an amazing 24 hours since I saw you.
Glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. But yeah, that the end part, it kind of again, it's a little specific and individualized to each person I'm working with. Like I got some different sounds, some different words, some different we'll leave it at words. Yeah, different words that I say in different combinations depending on what you need. But at the core of it, and getting to that, it's kind of like, so the first of the session is kind of like digging into it, diving into it. It might not be real comfortable. It might be a little uneasy, but like once we get that, and once we get, okay, this is what we're going to move for today, we kind of come to that end place, and it's like I always like to leave it with an uplifting and a deep peace and calm, like you're talking about. You know, that's what I like to leave the energy within you and within the whole situation by the time we're done. So by making those sounds, it's kind of like tuning a guitar or something. You know, I make these sounds and I bring us both into a certain state. And at the core of that, what I'm doing is I'm helping people get in touch with that which we are, that goes beyond the body. You know, what that force, source, God, whatever you want to call it, that kind of comes in and accumulates his body, the force that beats your heart, the force that takes the apple that I eat and turns it into me, and the apple that you eat turns it into you. That same force that goes beyond like right, wrong, good, bad, that a lot of people haven't had an experience of in this life. I try to help the person have a physical experience of that to the best of my ability, because it's like until you get in touch with this aspect of the non-physical that kind of gives rise to this whole game of life, it's very easy to get thrown around by things that happen on a day-to-day basis. And if you don't have a connection with that source, with that pure energy that we are, it's something that's got to be attained if you want to be happy on a consistent basis. It has to be, and it's not some simple thing I can explain to you, like do this and this and you're going to feel it. It's kind of it's an experiential thing. There's no words I can say to make you feel it. It's kind of just the situation, and some words I say point to it, and I kind of bring up that experience within myself from my own personal practice that I do, and bring it into the session and try to help you to feel that. Like it's like we're talking beyond words on a certain level, and I help you to feel that. So it's like, okay, at least you know what this is on a certain level. And now it's like, let's work on setting this as your set point. Let's get this as like, okay, I'm peaceful and content. And what am I doing with this? Where am I going with this?
And it's everything, right? Because when you come at life from a place where you feel peaceful, content, grounded, everything changes. You make decisions differently. You live differently. You have less road rage, for example. But you know, little things don't stress you out as much as they used to, because you have that. And I keep kind of touching my stomach because that's where I really felt it. Just really felt connected and grounded there. And so I want to ask you this: how important is meditation to this? Because you for such a young man seem so grounded and so together, and you have this beautiful Zen energy that I'm very envious of, and you're so young to have achieved that. So is meditation part of this practice for you?
Meditation has definitely been the key. And it's that's what kind of got me in this path when I first started looking into things about, okay, so this medication's not working for depression. What else works? Meditation was the first thing that I came across. And there was something within me that I always knew from day one, like there's something important about this. This meditation is important. Stick with it. And it's kind of it definitely takes years of practice. I'm not going to lie and say like you meditate for a week and you're going to be great. Like
You're there.
it don't work like that. It don't work like that, as unfortunately as that is. But if you can put some consistency to it, it'll change the foundation of your life on a very deep level, and it kind of allows you to make your inner state the way that you want it. Because when it comes down to it, there's always going to be things happening in the external world that are out of your control. No matter how much you do, no matter how much you say, there's going to be things that happen that are beyond your control. And if you depend on things going your way out here to be happy and complete within yourself, it's inevitable that you're not going to be there all the time. So it's kind of like realizing, and then it's so simple, but it's really realizing and embodying it on a moment-to-moment basis. The fact that, I can't control what's going on out here, but I can always control my response to it. And that's the key in getting to a place where, you know what, I'm peaceful, I'm calm. Someone just cut me off. Oh well, let's go forward with this. Do I need to get angry about this? No, like it's just going to make me feel angry. It's not important. But meditation was key. The meditation and different breathing practices. There's a lot of different versions of it, and that's also a big part of what I do. Because 1 or 2 sessions with me isn't going to fix everything you got in your life. It's like if you want to make some change within yourself, it's going to take some effort. It's going to take some dedication on your part, and having some guidance on to what works and what works for where you're to is a big help. Because when you go on the internet now and look it up, there's just a million different meditations of this, a million different breathing techniques, and it's a little overwhelming. And you can spend a lot of time trying this one, that one, the other one, and you get little bits here and there. But if you got someone that's kind of like, okay, I can see where you're to, and you try this one for now, and then come back to me in a week and we'll change it up, or come back to me in a month and we'll see how it's going. It's very helpful, and that's also something that I get into with the work.
Yes, because you gave me homework. So I have a breathing exercise that I have to do daily for the next 21 days. I've already completed that for today. So breath work is super important as well, huh? It's the source, I guess. The oxygen, the breathing is pretty critical to our existence.
Yeah, it's fundamental. It's fundamental for sure. And if you look at your breath, anytime that you're anxious, you're angry, you can just bring awareness, like, how am I breathing? I can almost guarantee that it's going to be a shallow breath. You're not taking that deep down into your stomach. And it's a simple thing, the breathing. Like, if you can just do that, you don't need to meditate, you don't need to do anything else, but have the mental awareness to keep coming back to that simple thing. That takes some practice. But even just focusing on your breath, it's an amazing meditation within itself.
And I want to mention too that on your Facebook page, you post, and I guess you go Facebook Live and you post meditations and breathing work. And I just noticed that you have a practice to be happy on a more consistent basis video up there. And I think, if people are kind of curious or maybe wondering or want a little bit more about you, they should definitely go to the Facebook page and just sit with one of these meditations. They're not long. It's not a big commitment.
Yeah, for sure. There's I do a Facebook Live weekly, and so you can join on then, or like you say, the videos are always going to be there, and I will continue to do that. And yeah, if it's something that you're maybe a little bit interested in, jump on, have a look, and check it out. And like you say, it's not very long. It's a little commitment when you think about coming to a place of contentment within yourself. Yeah, it's not big.
Yeah, for a little inner peace. I mean, it's not a lot of work for sure. And Jordan, I want to mention too, I think this is important, that people don't have to be with you to have a session. This is something you can do via distance.
Yeah, the work is just as powerful in person as it is at a distance, for sure. And that's really good for people not directly next to me. So it definitely works just as well for over the phone, over internet, video, whatever. It's great.
And I also want to mention that your sessions are covered by many insurance companies under naturopath So it's available to a lot of people and maybe something they should check out.
Yeah, definitely. And especially if you got some coverage, why not give it a try?
Yeah. What have you got to lose? So Jordan, how can people find you if they're looking now?
The best place to find me is on Facebook. You can search Fire Eagle Healing, and also my website, fireeaglehealing.com. So you can look on there, check that out. It's definitely the best place. And I would encourage you to, if you have any interest at all, reach out, give me a call, a text, an email, because although I do have a lot of information on there, talking to me personally is going to be the best way for me to convey specifically what I got to help you. So yeah, look at Facebook, look at the website, but get in touch with me.
And I can second that. I definitely have already started telling my friends about you, Jordan. I kind of went in a little bit skeptical because you seem so young, but I will not ever forget the experience I had. And I remember thinking, I got off the table, I'm like, damn, he has got this. You have this. And I think you can help so many people. And I just want to tell the world about you. So yeah, I guess that's what we're doing here now, huh?
Yeah, and I really appreciate that for sure. I know that I can definitely help a lot of people, and I appreciate your help in spreading the word about this.
My pleasure, Jordan. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this with me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been great.
Hi, and thank you for watching this episode of 1111. It is actually sort of a special episode in that it first airs on Rogers TV on November 11th, 2020. So that means that an episode of 1111 is airing on 1111. So of course we couldn't let that pass by without acknowledging it. Remembrance Day is a special day, and it's a special opportunity for us to take a moment and really remember members of our armed forces that have died in the line of duty. So every year on November 11th, we pause in a moment of silence to honor and remember those men and women who made the ultimate sacrifice. So today, we certainly encourage you to take that time and remember and honor the fallen and express gratitude for their ultimate sacrifice for our freedoms. It is very important that we remember them. Thank you.
The following program is brought to you by Rogers Anyplace TV. Enjoy exclusive content for free. Visit RogersAnyplaceTV.com.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
Welcome, I'm Maria, and welcome to your practice today.
Are you a woman experiencing abuse? Do you know a woman experiencing abuse? Help is available